In this video, we will cover how to create a manual check in Employer on the Go. You may need to create a manual check if an employee has lost their check or if you write a check to an employee in the middle of a pay period. Depending on the user permissions granted by your payroll company, you may or may not have access to all the features discussed in this video. On the dashboard page, begin by selecting either the manual check icon or by selecting Payroll, Manual Checks from the main menu. You will be taken to the manual check register where the system stores all manual checks ever created for your company. Select the new icon in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen to pop up the check writer window. It will list your company name and number in the upper left-hand corner. If you have multiple locations, select the location you're creating the check for. The type of check always defaults to payroll, but you could also create a tax, vendor, or invoice check. This field drives what your choices are in the pay the order of drop-down menu in the body of the check. If you have multiple banks, select which bank you want to cut the check on. The stub option defaults to normal, but there are also folded and logo check formats available. Any information keyed into the description field will appear on the face of the check, and comments populates with a gross to net breakdown of the check once it has been through the check calculator and will appear on the employee's manual check pay stub. On the face of the check, your company name and address is in the upper left-hand corner, pulls from company setup. The reference line information will display on the pay stub as well. The date field pre-populates with today's date, but may be overridden. But you want to note that if you want to create a record to post to the payroll journal and add to the employee's year-to-date, the manual check date must fall between the current period start and pay date on the employee's record. If the check number is left as pending, Employer on the Go will use the next check number based on the bank selected. You may override the check number if needed. Select the employee in the Pay the Order of drop-down menu, and the address will fill based on their employee record contact tab information. This Create Payroll Record for Next Pay Date box must be selected if you want the manual check to post to the payroll journal and add to the employee's year-to-date records. Once all selections have been made on the first screen, select the check calculator icon to pop up the form. In employee information, you want to allow all information to default. The employee is locked down because you selected them on the prior screen. You could deselect the Calculate Workers' Comp or Calculate Accruals boxes if you don't want workers' comp or accruals to calculate on the check. Under employee wages, you may do a gross to net or a net to gross calculation. If you select net to gross, you must key the net pay amount, then select Calculate in the bottom right corner to gross up the check. If you select gross to net, you must select at least one earning code under the wage type drop-down menu. The rate will pre-populate from the employee record. You simply key the hours or the pieces, and the system will calculate the amount. Department defaults to the employee's home department, but it can be changed if the manual check is being paid out of a different department. You may also add a job number or workers' comp job class ID to the manual check. If you're paying more than one earning code, such as regular hours and bonus, select Add New Record right above the wage type header record to add an additional row. Let me give them some hours here. I'm overriding his rate so that you can see it calculate. Here's my bonus. All right. In tax information, the setup pulls directly from the employee record. So you can either let it default or you can manually override if you want to block the federal or state taxes or if you want to mark them exempt from one tax type. The employee deduction sections will pull all active deductions from the employee record. You can select which deduction or deductions to calculate on the manual check by checking the box or boxes to the left of them. If you select the checkbox in the header record, all deductions will calculate. Once all selections on the screen have been made, select the Calculate icon in the bottom right-hand corner. The system will send the check to be calculated and pop up this employee summary section. It has key information, their gross pay, their taxes, their net pay, the year, the state. Tax details has the breakdown of the employee and company taxes by tax type. And workers' comp and accruals will display if set up on the company and the employee and selected on the prior screen. If any numbers look incorrect, select the back icon to return to the input screen and update. Then recalculate the manual check. Once the manual check is complete and accurate, you select Transfer to Check. The system returns you to that first check writer screen, and now the breakdown from gross to net displays in the comments window. You can give the check one last once over, make sure everything's accurate, and if it looks good, you click on Create Check icon. If you get that error, that means that your pay date didn't fall in the date range. I'm going to back mine up a couple of days. All right. The system calculates the check and then pops it up in this report viewer window. And then from here, the manual check can be printed, exported, or emailed. If the Create Payroll Record box was selected on the prior screen, the manual check will post to the employee's next pay date based on their employee record and add to that pay date's taxes. If you have further questions or need assistance, please contact your payroll company.